Angela and your family, former colleagues of the mayor, Vice President Biden, Senators Warren and Markey, Secretary Kerry and Treza, Secretary Duncan, Secretary Fox, Leader Pelosi, Governor Patrick and Diane, Reverend Clergy, distinguished guests, families and friends and neighbors. Today, we come together to celebrate a great man, a history-making mayor, and a life of accomplishment. Thomas Michael Menino, the relentless, the big-hearted, the people-loving urban mechanic, has gone to fix potholes in heaven. We celebrate his life and his legacy, but our heart aches. We ache from loss and from love. We ache with gratitude, admiration, and respect. Our heart aches for our city. Our heart aches for the Menino family. For Angela, the love of his life, who was always by his side. We know, Angela, that Tom Menino could not have been as honored the mayor without you. You made history together. Angela, this city grieves with you, and this city thanks you for your sacrifice and your service. And for Susan and Billy, Tommy and Lisa, the children he lived for and the family he watched grow with pride. Julia, Olivia, Will, Samantha, Taylor, and Thomas III. I had many conversations with your grandfather about all of you. You were the joy of his life. And to all who served with Mayor Menino, you are his second family. I want to acknowledge your grief today. You shared a bond forged in service that can never be broken. Tom Menino had a big heart, and that big heart beats on all across Boston. The small town, big city, he turned into a world leader in healthcare, in innovation, and in social progress, and more. His heart beats, too, in the countless people he inspired to serve, to grow, and to find their true potential. They are all over this city. They're building, leading, inspiring a new generation. They are in our law offices, in our community centers, they're in our boardrooms and in our classrooms. They're on our sports fields and our concert stages, and they're in City Hall. Tom Menino saw the core of people and believed in them. He drew out their greatness, the way he drew out greatness out of our city. In the quiet kid at Camp Harborview, he saw a college graduate. In the awkward teen on the youth council, he saw a community leader. In the person who deserves a second chance, he saw a cabinet chief. Tom Menino believed in underdogs. He knew what it was to be underestimated. He knew what it was to struggle. But he also knew the deep potential in every human being, how much passion and how much hope we keep hidden, even sometimes from ourselves. From a mile away, he could spot someone who needed a boost. He sought them out with simple words of encouragement. He backed them, and when Tom Menino had your back, that's all you needed. The proof is all around us. Tom Menino had Boston's back. When he first came into office in 1993, we were hurting. Cities were hurting. In his first speech as elected mayor, he appealed to everyone thinking of leaving Boston. He said, "I want you to know that what you decide matters to me personally." And he made this his solemn promise. "I dedicate my time as mayor to giving you a reason to stay." The truth is, he dedicated his whole life to giving us a reason to stay. He did it by getting up early every day, putting on a sharp suit that he probably got in markdown from Filene's basement. He hit the neighborhoods, acting on the values that lay deep in his soul. Those values told him to stand up for people, stand up to adversity, stand up for what is right. When access to health care was jeopardized, he stood up to create the Boston Medical Center. When our gay and lesbian neighbors cried out for justice, he stood up for marriage equality. When our schools were failing, he set high standards. He asked to be held accountable, and he stood up for children. And when the bombs went off at the finish line at the Boston Marathon, Mayor Menino was hobbled by surgery, but he stood up. He stood up in his hospital room to go to the suffering. He stood up at the Holy Cross Cathedral to comfort a shaken city. He stood up for Boston, the city he loved, and he stood up for us, the people he served. Mayor Menino spoke to me of the responsibility of this office in our last conversation. He said, "You will be a great mayor as long as you take care of the people." It was just like him in his hospital, but trying to lift my spirits, thinking about what I needed, thinking about all of us, and thinking about Boston. He didn't need fancy words, just take care of the people. Yesterday, they came to Faneuil Hall by the thousands. Today, they lined the streets of our neighborhoods. They were in Hyde Park and all across the city, the people he cared for, the people of Boston. Mayor Menino had a big heart, big enough to care for all of us. He didn't believe in old Boston or new Boston. He believed in one Boston, the one he devoted his life to. That was the precious gift he left us, his limitless, undenying belief of the city he loved. So I want to say, with all of Boston and for all of Boston, thank you, Mayor Menino, from the bottom of my heart for this gift. Thank you for caring for the people. Thank you for standing up when Boston needed you. Thank you.